in East Brunswick. This week, the halls at Churchill School are filled with posters created by students for National School Counseling Week. Also in the schools, Dr. John Kopko, superintendent, and Dr. David Seiden, school board president, explain how changes in the Quality Education Act should now benefit East Brunswick. The library's big 25th birthday celebration is coming up. And we'll begin a special series called Community Focus, highlighting local nonprofit organizations. These stories and more are coming up, including a look at 2 area performances and a review of Monday night's council meeting. Before we look at those stories, here's a look at next week's program schedule. Monday morning, join Lenore Kulik at 10 o'clock and learn how to use your muscles on Look Great, Feel Great. Stories for preschoolers follow at 10:30 on Stories from the Library. On Tuesday evening, Paul Hansen hosts You and Your Money at 7:30. Spotlight on Education focuses on special education programs in the schools on Wednesday night. That's at 7:30. And at 8 o'clock, join Laura Ivan as she finds out what it's like to be a high school athlete on 18 growing up in East Brunswick. Thursday evening brings another edition of This Week in East Brunswick at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And at 7:30, tune in to Let's Talk Health. On Saturday morning, catch a complete rundown of the week's programming. Check the Community Bulletin Board for details.
Hi, I'm Amy Fisher, and today I'm in the Board of Education meeting room with Dr. Jon Kopko, our Superintendent of Schools, and Dr. David Seiden, our Board of Education President. Headlines about state aid reductions have been on the front pages of the news now for several weeks, and at the beginning of December, the news for East Brunswick was very bad, but now it's become quite a bit brighter. Could you tell us what happened originally and what's happened earlier this week, Dr. Kopko?
Well, Amy, in the December state aid figures, we were rather shocked to learn that East Brunswick's township was scheduled to receive a $6.24 million reduction in state aid, and that basically revolved around the foundation aid, which is used for the normal everyday operation of our school system here. Obviously, a cut in state aid of that magnitude would have a very, very severe impact either on the program for the students in the school district or obviously on the tax rate. And when you consider $6.24 million of reduction, the tax rate increase to compensate for that would really be rather significant.
So what happened earlier this week to make things look better?
Well, earlier this week we've just learned, obviously as everyone else has, I'm sure, that the governor has issued his address to the state of New Jersey and indicated that East Brunswick, along with other middle wealth communities, would have that state aid restored because it was their belief that it was not the intention of the Quality Education Act to have something, again, of that magnitude to occur to this community. This didn't happen by accident. It happened through the work of an awful lot of people.
Okay, Dr. Seiden, you were one of the very first people to sound the alarm about the state aid cuts, and you've been working very hard to have the money restored. How were those figures calculated in the beginning, and what has happened to cause this dramatic change of events?
Well, what happened, Amy, is that the total amount of money that was allocated for state aid for New Jersey this year actually increased about $200 million. That was about a 4% increase. But then within that total pot, some of the categories of state aid increased very, very much. For instance, the aid for pension plan went up about 17%. The aid for the urban districts went up dramatically, as much as 20 and 30 and 40%. The aid for vocational school districts went up substantially. And when all of that aid was subtracted from the total pot, the amount of money that was left for the foundation aid, the aid that goes to districts such as ours that pays for the everyday running of schools, was actually reduced by 1 or 2 percentage points. And so when the formula was then calculated to distribute that money, districts that had received substantial amounts of foundation aid last year had their foundation aid either reduced substantially or, in our case, cut to zero. And what that resulted in was the strange anomaly where the wealthy districts in the state continued to receive state aid as they did last year, And the poor districts in the state received even more aid than they did last year. And those districts that are in the middle, such as East Brunswick, had their aid cut, and in our case, cut very substantially.
Now the governor has issued new figures. Now, how did he manage to do that?
Well, what the governor's office did was they developed a different way of evaluating the pension system. And it's nothing that's unique. It's a method that's been used in many other states in the country. And by reevaluating the pension system, they determined that the size of the contribution that the state has to put into the pension system this year could be reduced by about $500 million. And they rechanneled a portion of that money back into foundation aid. About $350 million of that money was put back into foundation aid, which then allowed them to recalculate the foundation aid formula and redistribute that money, which resulted in us getting our foundation aid back and restored back to actually slightly above where it had been.
But the legislature still has to approve that?
Yes, the legislature still has to approve that, and I think that's really a very important point for us to remember. You know, a lot of people worked very, very hard to keep this issue on the front burner, so to speak. Superintendents from around the state, school boards from around the state, board attorneys who have been active in filing lawsuits, residents, citizens, and letter writing campaigns, advertising in the paper. Lots of people have worked very hard. And I think it would be a mistake for all of us to now think that the battle is over. Only the very first step has been taken. The governor has put that money into his budget message, but the legislature still has to act on that budget. And I think it's still very, very important that the citizens of this community and others like us continue to communicate with their legislators and with the legislative leadership in the Assembly and the Senate. To make sure that they leave that money there now that it's been put there, because there is always the danger that it could be taken away.
Dr. Kopko, what effect will the additional state aid have on the local tax rate for next year?
Well, the additional state aid obviously will have a significant effect on decreasing the local tax rate, because the monies that have been restored obviously will be placed right into tax relief. So the decrease will be significant. Probably on a $200,000 home, an assessment of $200,000, we were looking at a tax increase of over $300, and that will be significantly reduced.
Well, that's very good. Okay, Dr. Seiden, what's the next step now for the board in budget preparation?
Well, since we've now received the new state aid figures from the Commissioner's office, we'll be using those new state aid figures in preparing our tentative budget. And we will act on a tentative budget probably this week, although that might be postponed because some of the dates have been changed by Trenton. But in any event, we will adopt a tentative budget with those new state aid figures in it, which will result in a substantially lower tax rate, as Dr. Kopko just indicated. But there still remains another couple of months before a final budget has to be adopted, and in that interim period, we're going to have to keep a very close eye on the legislature in Trenton, because if some or all of that money gets reallocated out of foundation aid, as it could happen, then our aid figures will get reduced, which will cause our local taxes to go up. So over the next period of 4 to 8 weeks, I think we're going to have to keep one eye on our budget and one eye on Trenton, and keep up the pressure, keep up the letter writing, keep up the telephoning, and keep this as a front burner issue. Districts such as East Brunswick can't afford to have that kind of state aid taken away from us again.
Right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll be back again on Channel 8 with updates about the budget and state aid. And the next update will be in 2 weeks when Mayor Oskowski will be here with Dr. Seiden and Dr. Kopko to talk about the way the township and the school district have joined forces to have aid restored for the benefit of all the taxpayers and all the students in East Brunswick. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Josephine Fiamingo, and I'm at the East Brunswick campus of the Middlesex County Vocational and Technical High School to talk cake, a 25-foot-long cake that's being made by the students here involved in the baking program for the library's 25th birthday kickoff, which will take place on Sunday, February 2nd. With me is the principal of the school, Mr. Bernard Siegel, and the instructor of the baking program, Mr. Robert Tafaro. Mr. Siegel, I wanted to ask you about the baking program here. What is its purpose and its goals?
The purpose is to give a student an entry-level skill into the trade so that when he or she graduates, they are employable in any bakery, anywhere, hopefully right in Middlesex County, but anywhere in the country.
From what I understand, the students here made a 100-foot cake for the Hand-in-Hand program that was done at Middlesex County College. So 25 feet should be a piece of cake?
So to speak, yes, that's rather small. Yeah.
Mr. Tafaro, can you tell me what the students are doing right now and what will happen after this until the event at the library?
Okay, the students are now using an airbrush. They're airbrushing the cake. They're going to be decorating it with roses, some flowers, stems. As far as decorating it, it'll be done all at the East Brunswick Library the night before the actual festivities.
The birthday kickoff celebration will take place on Sunday, February 2nd. At 1 p.m., we will have numerous local celebrities, including state, county, and local officials, authors, members of the press, and other dignitaries, cutting the cake. At 2 o'clock, we'll have a live performance of Pinocchio. Library departments will be decorated in birthday themes. We'll have a special showcase exhibit, which will sponsor a contest, asking the public to find the one item in the showcase that doesn't belong. It will be memorabilia from 1967, which is the library's birthday date. We'll also have commemorative birthday items on sale, leather bookmarks, sports bottles, and T-shirts. The library's only 25 once, so we'll hope you'll come out on February 2nd for a piece of cake. And mark your calendar, we're going to have contests in March, an author lecture in April, and a 25-cent picnic on May 3rd. That will be our final event. So it's time to celebrate, and we hope to see you there.
Hi, now I'm at Churchill Junior High School with the principal, Mr. Robert Jandenal, and the head of the guidance department, Dr. Frank Lopresti. The week of February 3rd through 6th is National School Counseling Week, and you have a very exciting program planned, Frank. Could you tell us about it?
Sure. As you know, Amy, the theme for the week is that school counseling is a team effort. And that team really consists of students, teachers, parents, and counselors. And our major goal for Wednesday night's evening meeting is to provide workshops that will help parents with that crucial part that they play in that whole process. We have been working, and Bob will talk a little bit more about the workshops that are available.
Okay, Bob, what kind of workshops will you be having?
Well, several months ago, we sent out invitations and letters to parents, and we have a variety of workshops. In fact, several of them are already closed out. 2 of them in particular are planning an appropriate four-year program for your child and helping your child build self-esteem, which I think we all realize in this day and age is an extremely important area. A few of the other workshops are setting and reinforcing standards and your child's learning styles, helping your child become more successful, preparing your child for college, loving communications in the family, and learning difficulties in the classroom.
Now, people had to register in advance for this, but if they haven't registered yet, are they still able to do that?
There's no problem at all with registering. As I say, a couple of the workshops are nearly full, but if anyone calls the Churchill Guidance Department at 613-6794, we can take care of anyone's request right up through the day of the workshop.
Okay. Dr. Lopresti, do you plan, this is the first time you've had something of this magnitude, right? Do you plan to do this again?
Not only here, but we're considering also at the other 2 secondary schools next year to expand the program. We've gotten such a great response from the parents, and we're really excited about it.
Bob, the art department's been involved in this project with a poster contest. Could you tell us who the overall winner was?
Sure. Well, Suzanne Baumwell is the overall winner. As you can see in back of me here, we have a variety of posters, all built around the theme of school counseling, and they were all very exciting, but Suzanne's was the overall winner. We have 13 or 14 other winners, and we're very proud of all our students as well as the art department for their participation in this.
And this really brings counseling to the forefront, having all the posters and everything, so I guess that's one of the purposes of having a special week, right?
Yes, it is.
For parents who would like to come and haven't called yet to register, call the guidance office at 613-6794.
This past Sunday, folk singer Elaine Silver gave a free performance at the East Brunswick Library. Silver, who lives in Stanhope, New Jersey, has performed throughout the U.S. and also has toured in Europe. She has performed with well-known folk music greats Arlo Guthrie, Richie Havens, Tom Chapin, and others. Currently at work on her third album, Elaine gave a sample of her work to a large and enthusiastic crowd at the library in a concert sponsored by the East Brunswick Division of Recreation.
Some find their roses underneath the stone, and some find their roses when the weather is low. Some find their roses every single day, and so many roses, some never find one. So many roses, some never find one. And some love a nighttime for the peace that it brings, and some love a nighttime 'cause it's easy to sing. Some love a nighttime for talking with the Lord, and so many nighttime, some never find one. So many nighttime, some never find one. So many roses, some never find one. And some, when I think about Mother Earth, I don't want her to get hurt. When I walk along this land, she needs a helping hand. When I take a look around and I see garbage on the ground, cleaning up will show we care. Then the world can share. Let me hear you singing now. Sharing is fun to do. One for me and one for you. When we share, we show we care. Sharing is fun to do. Sharing is fun to do. Sharing is fun to do.
Crossroads, the country's largest African-American theater company, celebrates Black History Month with a world premiere production of Oak and Ivy. The play dramatizes the passionate courtship and ill-fated marriage of Paul and Alice Dunbar, both poets writing at the turn of the century.
Love me, honey, love me true. Love me well as I love you. And she answered,
Of course I do.
jump back, honey, jump back.
Well, you act as if she really is your honey.
You should be an actor on the legitimate stage, Mr. Dunbar.
I've never had the pleasure. Permit me to introduce myself.
Why, everyone here knows who you are.
I am Paul Lawrence Dunbar. And you are?
Alice.
Performances of Oak and Ivy are Tuesdays through Saturdays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays and Sundays at 3 through February 16th. For tickets, call the Crossroads box office at 249-5560. Virtually hundreds of local nonprofit organizations contribute to the quality of life in this community. This week, Channel 8 begins a new informational series dedicated to introducing residents to these groups. This week's community focus is on the East Brunswick Women's Club.
Hi, I'm Monica Konopka. I'm the president of the East Brunswick Women's Club, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about our club. We're a group of women in East Brunswick and the surrounding towns who get together to do social service activities for the community. There are approximately 135 members in our club this year. We have raised and donated over $7,000 last year, including $2,000 in scholarships at the high school and at the VOTEC. We get together on the second Tuesday of every month at the Trinity Presbyterian Church and have our general membership meetings. The meetings consist of a program which can be a craft program, a health program, fashion, decorating, politics. We also get together in smaller groups and do community projects throughout the town. We get together and we have worked for the Robert Wood Johnson Pediatric AIDS group. We've made Easter baskets for them, and we've also helped at their Christmas parties. We've worked for the Skillman School for Disturbed Children. We work for the North Princeton Developmental Center, which is a home for adult retarded people, and we do quite a bit for them. In the past, we have done a lot of things for the township that people may not know. I've noticed that we're going to have the library's 25th anniversary, our birthday party. The East Brunswick Women's Club was one of the starting groups who asked the town for a library. We were one of the groups that started the dynamic push towards having that library. The women of our club designed and sewed the first township flag for East Brunswick. And we have been really behind the scenes all this time, helping East Brunswick retain their Tree City designation by donating a tree every year at the Arbor Day ceremonies, and just helping at the Senior Olympics, helping with the Senior Meals program throughout the town. Now, aside from all the social service, there's also a lot of fun that the Women's Club has. Just yesterday, we had our annual Chinese New Year dinner at Bamboo Garden, where we get together, we have a fantastic Chinese dinner, 8 courses or more. Some of the other fun things we do, we have an art department the art department takes people on trips to museums. We have a bridge department. Our bridge department is very strong. They love to play their bridge. We have a conservation and garden department. We have a drama department. We have just about anything you can think of. We have a public affairs department that works with the community in helping in and out. But I guess our biggest department is the social services. And we get together in small workshops and homes and do our social service projects. We are looking right now for some new faces, so if this sounds very interesting to you, we'd love to meet you. Our next meeting is the 11th of February at Trinity Presbyterian Church at 8 o'clock at night. Please come in and meet us, or you can call me at home. My telephone number is 238-4136. I'd be happy to talk to you about becoming a member of Women's Club.
Breast cancer and the modern woman was the topic of a special health lecture at Temple B'nai Shalom this week. Miriam Eichler, chairperson of the Adult Education Committee at the Temple, explains.
Hello, my name is Miriam Eichler. I am Adult Education Chairperson at Temple B'nai Shalom in East Brunswick. We are presenting, as a community health service, a program on breast cancer and the modern woman. This program is an update of an earlier evening that we had a couple of years ago. As part of the program, 4 of Temple B'nai Shalom's own physicians will be discussing the early diagnosis of breast cancer, breast preservation, regional radiation, systemic, hormonal, and chemotherapy. Their main thrust is that breast cancer in the 1990s is managed by a multidisciplinary team of specialists. Our panel this evening includes Dr. Andrew Boyarsky, surgeon, Dr. Alexander Haas, radiation therapist, Michael Nissenblatt, clinical oncologist hematologist, and Barry Zickerman, radiologist.
Despite these shocking incidence rates of breast cancer, the prevalence of breast cancer, or people who have been treated for breast cancer, has risen because fewer women are dying from breast cancer. We may be making the diagnosis more frequently because of the kinds of expertise that individuals like Dr. Zickerman are providing, early diagnosis. And such early diagnosis permits one to be cured with a much higher incidence than if the disease was diagnosed when the disease was larger or if lymph nodes had been involved.
We welcome the community to this event, We consider that women's health in the 1990s is of vital importance to everyone. Thank you.
At Monday night's Township Council meeting, Mayor Ira Oskowski read and presented a proclamation honoring the library's 25th birthday. Library Director Sharon Karmazin and Friends of the Library President Hope Mulberg were on hand to accept. Mrs. Karmazin invited everyone to attend the opening birthday party celebration on Sunday, February 2nd at 1 p.m. at the library. In other council news, Mayor Oskowski presented his revised recommendations for proposed salary increases for township executive staff.
As all of you know, 2 weeks ago I recommended to the council a 5% increase for executive staff with a 1% longevity increase. This increase would have increased salaries for the entire executive staff by approximately $35,000. Based on their support and assistance, I feel that I've come up with a new plan which will be acceptable to everyone. With that, I ask that the Township Council reject the 5% increase tonight, and in its place put through a program which will give increases to executive staff for 1992 based on their level of salary as a percentage of the upper band limit per grade.
Other councilmen and members of the public agreed that Oskowski's revised recommendations were appropriate in these economic times. Also at the meeting, several members of the public expressed their opinions on the way in which the public portion of the meeting is handled. Currently, individuals can address the council but cannot receive a direct response until the public portion is over. Several residents complained that this lack of direct dialogue made the council irresponsive to the individuals. The system was originally developed a few years ago because the public portions of meetings were running extremely long and taking up a large portion of the meeting time. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.
For the peace that it brings, and the song of the night time, 'cause it's easy to sing. The song of the night time, for talking with the Lord, and so many night times. Some never find one, so many night times, some never find one. So many roses, some never find one. And some love a rainbow for the promise it sends. And some love a rainbow for the prison that bends. I love a rainbow for the rain that does end. And so many rainbows, some never find one. So many rainbows, some never find one. So many night times, some never find one. So many roses, some never find one. And hey friends, I am giving this wish to you.